I was around 6 when I first started being able to climb. My dad, he got a pair of climbers for me and cut them down, and I had a little wagon that I used for a line truck, had a little wooden derrick on it. I used to actually cut some trees and build some lines, and I'd go up there sometime and the actual line would be down, so I'd go out there and pull it back up. Man, it was just like a kid who wants to become a policeman. I wanted to become a lineman.
Well, for Alan, he knows more about the history of the trade and the future of the trade than anybody I've ever met. I don't know if there's anybody that knows as much about anything that he knows about this trade.
Actually, we're on a line expedition researching an old telegraph line here in Idaho. So the subject came up, honoring the linemen, and we found that, they were absent from almost every historic recounting of how we got where we are.
And so I think it was a natural progression to just say, hey, your opus needs to be a book about the history of line work. And so then it was agreed upon that, he would write that.
I was certainly paranoid about leaving something out. And then the first thing would happen once it got out there in the trade, in the industry, people would say, hey, you didn't even cover this. God, you left that completely out.
And when you take a person like Alan who loves every element of the trade, there's not one piece that's more important in his mind. I think he agonized over that a lot. I think he also agonized over whether or not people would like the book.
The very first draft that came back, it just wasn't what we expected. And I really started to question, whether we'd actually get through it. I didn't want it to come out and be something that, NLC wouldn't be proud of. In the twilight of my career, to have that book is a good accomplishment. The title that we had selected was Risk and Reward.
The title Risk and Reward carried forward until literally a week or two before the book printed. And it was our editor, Anna McCarg, who called me on the phone one day and she says, Aaron, I've got to tell you, this book needs to be called The American Lineman. And I remember telling her, I said, let me talk to Alan about that. We've been saying Risk and Reward for 5 years. And there's a lot of, passion in this for him.
Aaron came in and said, hey, Anna mentioned calling it the American Lineman. What do you think? And I thought for a minute,
heck yeah, that sounds great. And instantly like that title was changed to the American Lineman.
We finally got to the point where, hey, it's off to the printer. And then one day, in comes Aaron walking in, and here he's got a copy of it, and it was my very first time to look at it. And, he smiled and looked at me, and I looked at it, and we kind of looked at each other, and it just looked so good. I think that was probably the very top point of everything as far as, what I've done in my career.
If there was an embodiment of the American Lineman, it would be Alan Drew. He learned how to climb when he was 6 years old. He perfected everything that he did. I said, you have validated that, whoever chose this career path chose a worthwhile career path. It's improving an entire country, improving people's lives. And that book embodied that. It said it with every page. I think it's an inspiration to the entire industry. And it's all at the hands of Alan Drew.